to design exactly how we want our practice to run, and we document that in the manual, and then the manual goes in underneath the counter at the front desk and doesn't get looked at from a day-to-day basis. And I found that was a real problem, especially if we introduced some new change in our office just before we went on holidays. So just before we went on holidays, we all sat down and we said, okay, we've got this problem, we've identified where it's coming from, this is the solution, so let's do this and then it'll be fixed. Does that sound great? And everyone on the team says, yeah, that's good, and we write it into the manual, and then we go away on holidays and we come back, and then 6 months later, and it's like, didn't we solve that problem already? And it seems to have come back again. So it's something that I really wanted to eliminate. And I developed these things which we call practice experts. And the practice experts allow you to take everything that you previously had in your operation manual and you place them into something that's live and interactive that your CAs can use and the doctors can use in your practice as you go through each of the different processes in your office. So like Pete said, the biggest work that you need to do with Spinalogic is designing how you want your practice to be. In other words, visioneering on your practice, being clear on the vision of how is my perfect practice going to be, and then spending that time designing that into Spinalogic. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it, progressively over time. But the most tools that we have in Spinalogic are in the settings screens, and you spend a lot of time getting things set up so you can run your practice exactly the way you want. And then when you're actually practicing, as Pete was saying, things just come to you and you just follow the steps you planned. You can even change the way that things are done for your team. And the team member, you might have a team member who's not even there on the day that you make the changes, and when they come in and it comes to the time for them to do that step, they'll just know that they need to do something different, and it's easy for them to do. I want to show you a couple of examples, so let's have a look. So let's have a look at the doctor's page first. And on this one, we can see that down in the bottom corner here, can everybody see that all right? Yeah? Down the bottom here, we've got my incomplete experts. So these are things that I've started working on, but I haven't finished yet. And I can just double click on it and it comes up and I can see all the things that I've done for Zach in his initial consult. I can see the ones that I've done, I can see the ones that I've got left to do. So now I need to go and do his image analysis. I don't even have to go to the screen in the software where that process is. I can just click on here and there's a hyperlink that takes me directly to it. And I can see the images that need to be analysed. There's actually none there because his case has been done. I've just got this as an example. So once I've completed that, I can check that off. I go on to designing his adjustment. It takes me into a different screen. We can see all of his x-rays and his posture photos. Oh, look at that nasty cervical spine. And I can design what I'm going to do in his adjustment. Once I've done that, then I just go back to here and I say, yep, okay, that's done. What's the next thing I need to do? I need to select the images I've got to display. Well, I should have done that while I was on the previous screen, but we'll go back and do that now. And say I want to see his lat C. Yeah, that one's marked. And I want to see his APLP because they're the two that got most of the problems we can see in his x-rays. So they're the ones I want to see when I'm adjusting it. I need to, I've done that, I can mark it off. Mark the images as reviewed, well that was already done. Do I need to schedule a second Ferguson for him because he's got a short leg? Oh, I can't remember now, do I? We'll go back to the images. And, well, yeah, we did. He had quite a substantial short leg there. In fact, we can see it was 8 millimetres, so we want to go back and retake that measurement. So I need to schedule that. So I go into here, create a message for my CAs. Okay, we need to do another Ferguson view. So now we've got a message for the CA saying take Ferguson view. Notice I didn't have to type it. Yeah, I just created my dictionary. It's got all the entries that I use in my practice. And of course in your practice you'll have some of them be the same and you can use a lot of the ones that we've got already. But some will be different. So you just program in all the stuff that you would normally have to type in or you would normally record on a file. You just store that in your own unique, personalised dictionary. And you can just click and select from that. So there I've made that message. What else do I need to do for him? I need to design some exercises. So I go in here, I can just choose the exercises that I want to give to him. I've actually already done that in this case. So you can see there's quite a few steps involved in initial consultation. I mean, you all know that. But we want to make sure that every single step gets done every single time, don't we? We don't want new doctors to be missing steps. We don't want to miss things because we're in a hurry. And if I am in a hurry, and these are things that I don't need to do right now, I can come back because his R1's not for another week. It doesn't matter if I do it now, I can finish that later. I just close that now, sitting down here, waiting in the bottom of the screen, and I can go away, I can turn my computer off, I can come back, and as soon as I turn it on, my incomplete experts will be showing there, waiting for me to come back and do it. So how might that apply to a CA? Let's have a look. We've got this is on the CA's homepage. Pete was talking about the different people having different home pages according to the roles that they're doing. So on the CAs we have We're at the CA homepage, you can see where people arrive and when the people who are sitting in the hot seats and the people who are on the tables. But we want to talk about the experts right now. And if we look at this one, we've got the open shift expert, and these are the things that I want my CA to do before we open a shift, to make sure that things are done before the doors get open. Printing off the sub-goal sheet, checking the email, check the phone messages, preparing the huddle if it's my day to be preparing for the huddle, being ready for the sub-goaling, make sure that I've reviewed what we're going to be doing in the sub-goaling, turning the answering machine off. Yeah? Yeah. Isn't that a good one? That used to frustrate me no end, I'd be adjusting, and I'd 10 patients in, and then I'd hear the answering machine cut in. So answering machine off. As soon as the expert is done, you can't miss that, right? We only have 2 rules in our office for everybody. It's really simple. One is, if there's a process for which there is an expert, you must use that expert. Yeah. Rule number 1. And rule number 2 is, you don't tick anything off your expert until it's actually done. You don't mark an action step until it's done. You don't go, oh, I'll just go and do that, so I'll check it now, and then I will, oh, what was that? Get distracted. Yeah, which is really easy to do. So long as you've got those 2 rules, then there's no way that anybody can ever miss any of the things that you've set up and you plan to have in your practice. And you eliminate all that variability. How cool does that sound? Yeah? Now I tried lots of different ways with my CAs to train them, to help them to be able to do things. But we all know that our CAs, they really want to do the best job that they can. And so I was trying to what's the best tools I can create so we can eliminate this variability, we can get everybody doing what they need to do at the right time. And we tried creating like checklists, and you pull these checklists out and you mark things off, and my CAs hated it. So when I first created these experts, they looked at it and went, oh, checklists. Yeah, we hate those. So I got a lot of resistance in my practice at the beginning, so hopefully you guys have never introduced checklists for your CA, so you won't get that resistance. But I got a lot of it. But then once they actually started using the experts, they found that it makes things much easier for them to do their work. And I made all these experts for my CAs, and they were doing everything really well. And I didn't have any because I was a doctor and I was so smart, And then, of course, all the mistakes that were being made in the practice were being made by me. My CAs weren't making any, and I was making all the mistakes in the practice. So I thought, wow, gee, why is that? Maybe it's because I need to have some experts. So I made these experts for myself. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to use these. I was the same as my CAs. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like whining to myself that I having to do my experts. And then, once I created them, I discovered they actually made my life so much easier, because at the end of the day, like people were saying, when you're tired, you're like, oh, I just got to sit down and finish reviewing these cases. Well, what do I have to do? It's like they're just listed right in front of you, and you just go, expert, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you just get in the groove, and you just follow the steps. You don't have to think that much. You just need to do the basic details that we know how to do, we know how to do. So they're the experts, and for me, they're probably the greatest thing that we've got in Spinalogic. And it's a bit like, in your car, how we have electric windows. Does anybody have manual wind-up windows in their car? Anybody? No? Does anybody remember when we had manual wind-up windows? Yeah. And you remember when electric windows came out and you thought, oh, you've got to be kidding. Like our car just go, what's so hard about winding that up? It seemed like such an irrelevant thing to have at the time. But now, nobody has wind-up windows. They all have the electric ones. So some of these tools that we've created will seem like, well, why would you want that? But once you've used them, you never want to go back. They increase your efficiency in practice just enormously. So you can see it's broken up by team member. So we've got Annie, we've got Suzanne, we've got Dr. Richard. We can see that Annie has got a 100% completion of all of her experts. For every new patient booking, every new patient that was booked in, she did a new patient expert. For every initial consultation where someone came in for initial consult, she did the initial consultation expert, 100%. When we first did that, we had another team member who actually, interestingly, is one of the ones who left us. 30%. She was really light. You can see here, I was doing pretty well. Pretty happy to say. We can see here that Suzanne was not. It's not bad, but it wasn't great. Why not 100%? Why sometimes she did and sometimes she didn't? So when I talked to her, she said, well, sometimes the experts just don't really match up with what I have to do. Well, that means that the experts haven't been properly designed and we need to fix them. We don't have a procedure that we're going to use, but sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes we don't follow. We want to make sure that our procedures are rock solid. We don't have holes in our nets that let our patients fall through. So we worked out really quickly by looking at this that was a problem. And we fixed it and she went to 100%, and everyone's stayed 100% since for like the last 3 years.